Namaskar. Hello and welcome to DGI-359. And I'm joined by my co-host Sridhar Tichalaji. And we have some amazing breaking news for you. Sridharji, Namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel.
Namaskar, good morning to everybody.
Sridharji, the United States stock market, how are the futures looking? And how is the recession prospect looking in Europe and in UK, sir?
Well, I think firstly the European market again points to the futures point to it was 300 points down and now it's just made its way back up. But I think we're going to end up with a losing week. The prospects of a recession are growing stronger and stronger. I think there's a growing sentiment that the central bank may have left it too late. As far as UK is concerned, I think they've done the right thing. They've gone ahead with massive tax reforms, which helps the people to have more cash in the pocket, recognizing both inflation is high as well as the recession prospects are, pretty strong in UK as well. As you can see, the British pound has taken a hit. It is around 1.11 to the US dollar. The European markets are already in bad shape and they're heading towards, very much heading towards a recession driven by energy prices and supply chain issues. The markets are starting there at, something 2.8%, 2.8% down. The markets are, as we speak, the markets are already open in Europe. So I think in summary, the central banks around the world have acted in unison, but they seem to have acted a bit too late. And I think now raising interest rates is only going to push us towards inevitable recession as we head into 2023.
Viewers, a shout out to like this particular video so we can make it go viral because we have some absolutely stunning developments from across the United States and in other places. First of all, 162 scientists, they went back to China, and this is between the period 1987 to 2021. And a study says that these people helped China build its hypersonic missiles, its submarine programs, and so on and so forth. Because these things take a long time. And I was always surprised as to how China suddenly had a leap or a step ahead of Russia and the United States. Sridharji, how did this happen? All these people are of Chinese origin?
They're all of Chinese origin. They went back to China. According to the investigation that has been going on and the report that has been released. As is often the case, you will find that the government never releases such reports, but it is quite stellar, especially from these people who went from the Los Alamos laboratory in New Mexico. And it's gone on for years. I mean, this is a major revelation within the context of a significant technical breach and loss of intellectual property, which many have stated, but without substantiating. We have seen this even in the disruptive domain, such as several technologies that have gone from the Silicon Valley as well. So this is big within the context of strategic advantage and parity around the most sensitive defense technologies.
Sridharji, the United States Postal Service monitored protesters around the country, snooping on Americans focused on issues involving guns and President Biden's election, according to records obtained by the Washington Times. Sridharji, you and I know that the phrase going postal means somebody just goes crazy and starts shooting. Now this is acquiring a new name, sir.
It is. I think that, on the back of the first report, the second report is no surprise. One is loss of stealth and loss of information from within United States. Here, stealing information, which is the privacy and confidential proprietary of every US citizen, and the Postal Service, which is the safeguard of privacy. If you anyway talk about United States and privacy, the stamp of privacy comes from Post Office. If they become the agents of, you have to use the loose word, espionage, in terms of people who are, looking at guns and who are in MAGA rallies and who are in this and who are in that, then, we already talked about the so-called postal ballot issue in the elections. It's very unfortunate. The United States very much is now resembling something like an old police state or a communist state This is what typically happens in the communist regimes. Very unfortunate.
So, Sridharji, whatever has come in the book red-handed appears to be true because Republicans are now demanding that the Department of Treasury investigate the millions received by the Biden family. I think the number is 32 million, sir. What is the news you have got now?
The news that I have is what is being discussed is 32 million, but the number may be much more significant. But more important than the number, direct number, is the influence that they have over the administration, especially around the policies. That is not calculatable in terms of a dollar specific value. It's very interesting. This is now going into a formal, some kind of investigation by the Republicans. Should they win the House, then it may become a big inquiry. But remember, we covered this in DGI. Janet Yellen had stated, she is the Treasury Secretary, she had stated the request came from the Republicans. It must come from the Democrats as well for her to reveal information from Treasury. So therefore, they have steadfastly refused to release any information as it relates to these records. Doesn't. So in other words, what we are saying here is the Treasury works for one side of the government, or if other side of the government is not absent, they would not reveal any information, albeit if it has truth in it.
So, United Nations General Assembly, a lot of stuff happening there. India has continued its diplomatic offensive with the External Affairs Minister condemning the Chinese for blocking the listing of Pakistan-based terrorists at the Security Council session. So this is one thing that's going on. The other thing, and this is a very significant development for India, United States, France, and a host of nations are now saying that India should have a permanent seat at the Security Council. This is going to be the moment, sir? Is it, do you think?
Well, I think it could be the moment if based on all the stuff that is going on right now, you know what's going on with Russia. Everybody knows what's going on with Russia. Everybody knows what's going on with China as it relates to these are the so-called P5 nations, which have not behaved in a manner that is reflective of a P5 nation or a responsible power. India has demonstrated consistently that it works with everybody in a manner that is for the benefit of everybody, and it's rules-based. So I think there could be a move, at least to make it a semi-permanent member for a period of time rather than on a rotation basis. I think that is the groundswell that is developing within United Nations.
Now, the rupee is depreciating against the dollar. Today, it depreciated 44 paisa. And in fact, that's broken through the 81 rupee level. Sridharji, this weakening of the rupee vis-a-vis the dollar, where do you think it's going to stop, sir? Because we had said or predicted that it will be between 75 and 80, but now it has breached the 80.
Well, I think the continued escalation of the interest rates and the continued depression of the economies around the world and the currencies, there will be some spillover effect. Look at British pound to dollar and look at euro to dollar. When you compare that, I think the Indian rupee has performed relatively well by virtue of all the good things that's happening in India. But rupee is linked to the markets. There will be the spillover effects. And I think the central bank or the central institution, which is the Reserve Bank of India, seems to have supported the rupee up until 80. And at this stage, they're saying, okay, we can't keep on pouring money and we just have to allow the market to see. But they will come in if there is a consistent pattern for it to slip even further. So it's very hard to speculate as to where we are going. We need to see what happens next week, whether the market is able to absorb this big interest rate shift that has happened and say, okay, this is going to be short term rather than it's going to be medium term. If it is going to be medium term from the computations, then we can see rupee slipping further, G.
So the Pope has issued a statement that we are already in World War III, citing Ukraine and also saying that Putin has perhaps lost it. And now Putin and Russia have countered back saying that it is the Pope who's not well. So who's not well, sir, and what exactly is really going on?
I think both may be not well. That may be a good conclusion. But why would Pope want to intervene and talk about World War III? I mean, when the world powers are acting and working towards some kind of a solution, I'll leave the matter there. But this is something that has happened while the United Nations General Assembly session is ongoing.
Now, two of the states that are in dispute between Ukraine and Russia, the Donbas region, have now started a hastily summoned referendum as to whether they want to be with Russia or not. Sridharji, this is war zone. How do they expect to finish this referendum? And now all the countries are saying this has no meaning at all because it is going to be a rigged one. What is the purpose of doing this? Does Russia feel that they can actually keep Donbas and like call off the war?
Well, this is a sign of defeat, not sign of victory. If, for example, Russia, as all expected to walk through and win this particular region with local support, has not happened, and there has been retreat from the eastern parts of Ukraine, especially this region. So what is the option left? Okay, the option left is conduct a referendum and basically say it's a cessation and we are basically leaving Ukraine. In other words, without a bullet or without a war, they want to basically say they are independent and they are now joining the state of Russia. Now, whether the international community will recognize it or not remains to be seen. Now, they have stated they will not recognize, but having said that, what can they do to enforce is the question. So therefore, we may be well down the path where, this is in no man's land. And, one guy said these two states, as you rightly said, Luhansk and the Donetsk region saying, well, we are now part of Russia. And the world community is saying, you are not. And then, of course, the Ukrainians say, no, you are not part of it. And we have very much people in the region. You remember we showed the Azerbaijan-Armenia map? It'll look very similar in Ukraine as well.
Sridharji, the United Kingdom has lowered the interest rates. Now you have US just raising it by 75 basis points and UK has lowered it. Wouldn't money then flee from UK and come into US, sir? I mean, I'm a little confused about the move that UK has done.
Oh, the UK's currency is substantially discounted. That's number one. So if you're going to buy dollar, this is the best time to buy dollar because it costs you less amount of pounds to buy dollar. That's number one. In case you want to go to dollar, usually the British pound has held was able to buy more dollar with their British pound. But now, a lot of people will say, okay, is it going to depreciate further? Let me go and buy some more dollars. That seems to be predominantly driven by three factors. One, the energy cost is flowing in and people finding it unaffordable. And the second is the inflation is running very high, because of the supply chain issues. Three, nobody has calculated or counted. They have made Brexit. So what has been the consequences of Brexit in terms of the internalization of the UK economy remains unquantified. Of course, the UK government under Elizabeth Truss has done the right thing by going and giving benefits to the people. So which means the government is now going to borrow more money to plug the balance sheet by virtue of receipts being lost on the tax revenue.
Now, the United States aircraft carrier, I should say, has arrived in South Korea as a potential deterrent to North Korean issues. This is like now we've already seen them going through the Taiwan Strait. Now they are, patrolling the Korean area. Do you think that China might come to North Korea's aid, or do you think they'll first say, North Korea, you go and fire something at South Korea? I'm trying to see how this thing is going to play out.
I think China is not going to looking at the Russian template. China is going to be extremely cautious in terms of any moves that it makes until such time Xi Jinping gets his term extended. That's somewhere around mid-October. there's a very strong indication that's going on in the intelligence community that the North Korea is likely to do a nuclear blast, a nuclear detonation. And the world community has basically stated that, don't do it because it will be significant. And Korea said it will take the appropriate response action should North Korea go ahead and do its nuclear detonation. That's somewhere expected to be between October 14th and October 19th, according to the intelligence sources. So I think United States is standing by and ready to support the South Koreans in case there's some trouble coming out as a result of this incident.
And now Hong Kong has lifted all the COVID restrictions. Does this mean that there will be some relief for people who want to fly in that region? Because South Pacific, Southeast Asia was, Hong Kong was one of the key hubs.
Well, I think this whole region, which is an extensively is a travel hub, the ASEAN regions, and also Hong Kong is a very big travel hub. Hong Kong and Singapore are one of the biggest travel hubs. Now, they've been suffering for more than 2 years as a result of the pandemic. Glad that, they all have opened, including Japan has opened for people to come and go. And with the intent that all they need now is more people coming in and spending money because all the economies are under stress.
Thank you very much, Sridharji. And that's it for today, folks. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, sir. Same to you.